So this video is the energy periods that I use, and I guess it's a bit of an explanation for those who need a bit more information on what they are. So in the markets, and this is just my interpretation of it, in the markets and in life and the weather and whatnot, there's these repeatable patterns that occur, whether it's hot or cold, wet or dry, you're happy, you're sad. These are the general ebb and flow of anything, a maximum and a minimum. And you'll find certain energy periods, depending on the type of energy, influence those cycles to give them a higher amplitude or not, so to speak. So if you're in a cycle that's rising and it's got a rising trend, so growth is occurring, and then you find favourable energy, you'll find that growth is more aggressive and sustained for a longer period of time. So in terms of price, you might find if you're moving into a bullish trend, so particularly if you've got technical analysis indicating a breakout, and then you have favourable energy period moving in within that specific period, you'll find that breakout is generally more aggressive than if there was no energy to support that move. And that is also the case in a bear market. So say you've got a downtrending market and you come across a squeeze pattern, with a falling wedge or prices against support, you'll find if there's negative energy, there's a high chance that price will break through that and make an aggressive move to the downside. And in contrast to that, you will find in a strong trending natural bull market, any negative energy is almost cancelled out. So it'll have almost a net zero effect. So instead of pushing the market down, it might push the market sideways. And the same can be said in a strong downtrending market where bullish energy, rather than creating a reversal, might just create a plateau where price just stalls and consolidates. And this is the sort of way that you need to use this sort of energy to interpret when moves might occur. So at the moment in Bitcoin, for example, we're in a bull market. So when you find clusters of favourable energy, they're going to be your best chance at finding a sustained move or a breakout or a bottom to form and then a new rally to occur after that. So when I identify these periods, these high energy periods, I'm not going to give too much away on those. I'll let you work those out by yourself. If we make a low moving into a high energy period, for example, so this is a good example that happened back in mid to late January. We had a high energy period start as the market was bottoming. So naturally, it promoted a sustained rally pretty much to the end of that window, and then price broke down. And a similar sort of event happened in the current energy period where price began to move higher, but I think I've just misinterpreted this energy here, because right where there's a cluster, price broke down. So I think this is just wrong in my interpretation here. But generally you can see where the lines match up, that moves generally occur when these energy spikes are introduced. I guess on a deeper level, they interact with your subconscious, and you have days you wake up, you don't want to get out of bed for no reason, and it might be a beautiful day outside. Other days you feel bulletproof for no reason. Other days you're highly aggressive to the slightest sound, especially when it comes to kids. You're very snappy, and that can be reflected in this sort of chart interpretation. How it makes you feel without you understanding effectively is what drives the herd mentality. So as a herd, most people will feel a sense of euphoria on certain days, and they're the days where price will generally rise. Then there'll be other days where people feel a sense of anxiety for no reason. And this might not affect you, but as a mass population, you might find that there is uncertainty in the market for absolutely no reason. And it's not until you break down these specific energy periods that you can sort of plot them and find there is correlation there that you can use to your own advantage to understand when market movements might occur. A lot of what I do has little to do with astrology, although it might look like it, especially modern day astrology. For those of you who are watching this, you might argue with me, but a lot of modern astrology is absolute garbage. It's designed as a marketing scheme. Traditional astrology is based on mathematics, philosophy, psychology, and all sorts of different things, and it's got a very poor representation these days in society for that reason of how it's been marketed. So if you can look beyond it and find the underlying cause of what's actually happening, and that's down to chemistry and physics and how it interacts with, chemical systems in the body and in the air even, and that's a large part of why the weather does what it does. You can sort of understand where you can utilize it to your own advantage, particularly in the market, and other aspects of life. I use this tool a lot to understand when I might have periods of trouble ahead, favourable periods where I can try new concepts with work and whatnot. So it's not just limited to predicting prices of the market. It can be applied to a lot of different areas on Earth and off this Earth. So definitely worth studying. For those who are interested, I recommend doing what I'm doing to understand what each event does and how it applies to market cycles, because market cycles and planetary cycles aren't the same thing. I don't care what Gann books you've read. I don't care what the astrologers online are telling you. Most of those guys read the same generic books, and even a lot of the Gann materials, it's probably that far from the truth from what's originally been written that it makes no sense anyway. So you're best off studying this from the ground up yourself, and that starts with this basic sort of plotting. I have posted a spreadsheet in Discord. It's very generic, but it'll give you a bit of an understanding of how you can plot things in different cycles and stuff like that. But in saying that, with the current high energy period that runs from the 29th to the 5th nearly over, there is a small window from the 8th to the 12th, and that runs, so that's this period here. And that's, coincidentally, it's when Saturn moves into the 9th house of Bitcoin's chart, which is the house of technology. And this is coinciding with Trump signing these executive orders to possibly start purchasing Bitcoin as an asset for the United States. So this could be a big key marker in future news in the next few weeks. I'd really be watching that position with that planetary interaction and what it means for Bitcoin itself. And then following on from that, we have some high energy transits occurring, which will be directly, affecting mood and psychology on Earth as it is. So you've also got Saturn, as it moves into the 9th house, is going to be conjunct with Bitcoin's Uranus. So that's to do with sudden events, technology, and things like that. So I think we might see something in the news come out in the next couple of weeks, which is highly favourable. I'm not saying the market's going to respond straight away, but I'd be paying attention to the news from week 2 of February, possibly in towards that week 3 of March around the equinox when the new business cycle starts. So from the 14th till the 23rd of March. So pretty much this next month, I think is going to dictate a lot of long-term future events for cryptocurrency based on planetary transits with Bitcoin's birth chart, plus how physical energy interacts with market cycles itself. So yeah, combining the two gives me that sort of a reading on the future. So for now, we're going to be focusing on waiting for the current range to break from that 92 to 108,000. Any lows down to the bottom range, look to buy, specifically if you're in a high energy period. Buy and sell the range. Not until we get a break that actually retest and hold above 108,000 would you be looking for sustained growth. I do expect that, but until we see it, that's not going to happen. So that's the general energy outlook, and I'll post a link to this chart so you can backtrack and have a read of some of the dates and write down some of the information for your own research in the update. Cheers.